This video was made possible by CuriosityStream. Sign up for the Nebula bundle deal for $15 at curiositystream.com/HAI to watch the 40-minute HAI special right when it comes out next week. You know what? I'm fed up with the fat cats in the airline industry. They're always acting all high and mighty, telling you that you can't bring more than 2 carry-on items into the plane, or that you need to wear a mask because overwhelming scientific evidence says it saves lives, or that you also need to be wearing pants, sir. Please, you're just embarrassing yourself. You know how they are. Well, I've had enough. I'm starting my very own airline called Half as Plainteresting, and it's not going to have any rules, or consistent flight routes, or even ticket fees, but you'll have to listen to a really long advertisement for CuriosityStream before and after takeoff. Unfortunately, no airport has agreed to let us operate there until we follow FAA regulations, so I'm also starting my own airport, Half as Interesting Airport. It's going to be the perfect airport experience. No security checkpoints, 4 miles of moving walkways, and a Starbucks every 6 feet. Oh, also, it's going to be built directly next to an active volcano, but look, we're just gonna have to ignore that and hope it doesn't go off. At least that strategy worked for Keflavik International Airport in Iceland, right? Sorry, what's that? The eruption of a nearby volcano in 2010 disrupted air travel for Europe for nearly a week and forced them to move all their operations to a foreign country, the logistics of which was very unique and interesting. Oh, alright. Well, I guess that means we're just doing a normal Half as Interesting episode then. Okay, so before we get to the planes, we need to talk about Eyjafjallajökull. And because my writers know I can't pronounce Eyjafjallajökull, they're going to include Eyjafjallajökull in every sentence for the rest of the script. Let's just say it a few times, just for fun. Eyjafjallajökull. Alright, well, I'm firing my writers. For now, I'm just going to call the volcano Island Mountain Glacier, which is roughly what it translates to in a language I can pronounce without being skewered by the 3 incredibly mean Icelanders in my comments section. Now, volcanic eruptions aren't actually that rare. There are 1,500 or so active volcanoes on Earth, with 31 in Iceland alone, and on average, 1 or 2 of them erupt every single week. Some, like the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii, have been continuously erupting ever since the Disney Channel launched in 1983. I mean, I'm not saying that this is nature's way of punishing us for creating a television show called Dog with a Blog, but I'm also not saying that it's not. The point is, volcanic eruptions are actually pretty common, but the eruption of Island Mountain Glacier in 2010 was unique for a few important reasons. Firstly, the eruption itself actually wasn't very big, only a 1 out of 8 on the Volcanic Explosivity Index, but because it happened under 200 meters of glacial ice, the lava cooled very quickly and produced an enormous cloud of extremely fine, glass-rich ash. When exposed to hot plane engines, this type of ash can heat back up and turn into lava, which happens to be one of the last substances you want in your plane engine, beat out only by bomb juice and live human babies. To make matters worse, this horrible glass lava ash cloud was released directly into one of Earth's 4 primary jet streams, carrying the cloud all the way to mainland Europe and as far as Italy, disrupting not only Europe's airspace, but also countless bowls of spaghetti. Between April 15th and April 23rd, nearly all commercial air travel in Northern Europe was cancelled. That's a little more than 100,000 missed flights, 10 million angry passengers, and an estimated 30 million unwatched episodes of Cake Boss. Many travelers were left stranded in foreign countries. Some, like the 200 Bangladeshis trying to book flights out of Brussels, weren't even able to leave the airport if they didn't have a visa for the country they were trapped in. All told, the airline industry lost about $1.7 billion during the 1-week shutdown, making this the largest disruption of air traffic since World War II. Ironically, one of the only countries that didn't initially experience interruptions that week was Iceland, since the jet stream carried the entire cloud across the sea before it could do so much as dust Iceland Air's pristine fleet of commercial aircraft. But, much like Menelaus in the Iliad, or Hamlet in Hamlet, or the Sith in Revenge of the Sith, the ash cloud got its revenge. The following week, the wind shifted, freeing up most of Europe's airspace and absolutely hammering Iceland, forcing them to close down their largest airport, Keflavik International. Now, they could have just gone and sulked off to their beautiful crystal ice caves to wait it out, but they didn't. Instead, in the span of half a day, Iceland Air moved 200 staff and 10 planes across the Atlantic and set up a new hub here in Glasgow, Scotland. Now, Iceland's not technically part of the European Union, but they are part of the European Economic Zone, which makes this sort of move to Scotland possible, or at least until Scotland leaves the EEA next year and locks all those freeloading Icelanders out of their country. But back in 2010, Iceland Air was able to route all their flights from North America to Glasgow, and then operated flights to their various destinations in Europe from there. That didn't help passengers who were trying to get to Iceland, but the majority of Iceland Air's passengers were on connecting itineraries to Europe. With this, Iceland Air was able to keep 75% of their normal air traffic despite having their main airport shut down. This, frankly, put the rest of Europe to shame, who had spent the past week getting around in buses and even, in some extreme cases, using video conferencing software to hold work meetings. Good thing we never had to do that again. Speaking of catastrophes, the first ever half as interesting Nebula original is releasing next week. Now, if you don't know about Nebula, you're missing out, because it is home to all the big special projects of your favorite educational creators, plus all their normal videos early and ad-free. Making it even better, you can get access to Nebula through the best deal in streaming. For a limited time, for just under $15, you will get a year of Nebula and CuriosityStream, which is the streaming platform home to thousands of full-length documentaries. That's a year's worth of entertainment on 2 great streaming platforms for the cost of one overpriced burger. Plus, a 40-minute HI original next week, which will be entertaining no matter if it's good or not. Once again, get the best deal in streaming for just $15 at curiositystream.com/HAI.